Hi guys, it's Matt here from MCS Books, and today I am joined by the lovely Davide from David Hook. So Davide, would you like to tell the people about your channel?
I basically do the same as Matthew does, that I basically talk about the books that I read, the books that I like, but I feel like you put more effort into discussing deeper themes that I do, which is something that I like about your channel.
I will link to Davide's channel down below so you can check him out if you wish to. So today we are going to be talking about BookTube versus Bookstagram. Now Davide and I have we actually met on Bookstagram. We met like last summer, I think it was, that we started following each other and talking quite a bit more. So we have been on Instagram for a while. For me, I was on Instagram first before BookTube. For Davide, it was the other way around. So yes, today I thought it would be a fun sort of experiment or challenge, I don't know what it is, but we're gonna see the difference between the way the creator makes photos for Instagram and the way that the consumer or the viewer uses Instagram. So what we're going to do is I'm going to first of all choose my top 5 favorite photos from my entire Instagram feed, and I'm going to explain to Davide and to you guys about them, and then Davide is going to do the same for his feed, and then we're going to swap and I'm going to choose my top 3 pictures from Davide's feed and explain why I liked them, and he's going to choose his top 3 from mine, and then we're kind of going to see whether we've made the same choices or not, what the similarities and what our thinking has been behind creating and viewing. So we're going to start off with my feed. So of course we're going to be looking at the phone whilst we do this, but I shall post the picture somewhere on the screen in editing, so you guys can also see and you guys can kind of get to know your opinions about it too. So my first one is this one. It's quite an early one that I made, and it's part of a Bookstagram tag that I created. So I chose this photo as one of my favourites because not only is it one of my favourite books, David Mitchell's Number 9 Dream, but also I just liked the way the colours worked for it. The theme of the tag was each day was a different colour of the rainbow flag with different meanings, and this one was obviously purple. And I don't know, it just turned out really well. It was like taken at the perfect time, and I was really pleased. And I only needed to take, I think, 2 or 3 pictures before I had this one, which it doesn't happen often. In all fairness, not when I'm in the shot too. And then my second favourite is this one. Mm-hmm. Now for this one, it's one of my favourite books again. However, it was more the memory behind this picture, where this photo was taken in Hong Kong. It was in my favourite bookshop / cafe / cinema. It was just one of these magical places that has everything you need in one place. So this picture just kind of encapsulates that memory and that place in a photo. But also, I just like the way it looks. I like the way I've managed to catch the orange in the different parts of the wood and the saucer with the body on the cover. So then the third photo, which is my favourite, is this one, with the Enchantress of Florence by Salman Rushdie. Now this book, again, it's more than memory. It just happened to be the perfect book that I had in my bag in the perfect place. This is a bar in Hong Kong, in a really nice experience. You kind of have to go down a secret alley and then up some secret stairs, and then you get into this place, and there was this one corner and it just had really old antique books that kind of were delicate but really aesthetically pleasing and everything, and they were actually real books, they weren't just fake ones. So then, I was like, wait, I need to take a photo here. So I set up the bookshelves and books on the table, which were already there, and then I just managed to put out my one, and I think the book matches the scene perfectly. And then the next one that I chose was this one. This one, again, is more, I don't know, it's a fun photo, and I hadn't really taken a photo like this before. And it was just more a spur of the moment. I think I just woke up that day and was getting ready to go to the beach in Sweden, which is a big thing, and I got sunburnt. And I picked, this was the book I was currently reading, and I realised that it matched my clothes. So I threw it on the bed, threw myself on the bed, took it, and it was very much a one-shot take. And it just turned out so well and so nicely that I like the colours. Yeah. I like the way that I matched with the book. It's quite nice. Yeah. And then my last choice is this one. Now, Davide was there when I took this, because I took it in his home, and it's his book, actually, that I read, and I had like the perfect idea, and like I was able to take the theme of the book and like put it into like a sort of an artistic take, I guess. So there was a lot of thought that went into this, and I don't think it actually translated well, because there's specific symbolism within the surrealist movement with the umbrella and the sewing machine. And yeah, so for me, like, what I love about this picture is like the craft that I actually put into it. It was one of my least populars on my feed, actually.
I mean, I can understand why it's not liked, because it's not the typical one, and the typical one are the typical ones because people like them.
So now we're going to go through Davide's feed, and he's going to talk about his 5 favourites.
Yes. So let's go into chronological order. So this is the first one, and this is actually the first picture I posted on Bookstagram or on Instagram. I mean, I can acknowledge that it is not a good picture, as in it's not well balanced. It's just like a picture of a page. I mean, with me, this was such a silly meaning behind it, because I was reading, I think it was Pride and Prejudice. But yeah, and she doesn't have any paragraph in the book, and I really hate interrupting my reading. But also the chapters in this book were quite long, and I remember, I think it was quite late at night when I took this picture, and I really wanted to go to bed, and it's like an operation and manifesting of this paragraph after I don't know how many pages of the book, and I was so excited that I had to tell everybody that finally Jane Austen had made a paragraph somewhere. And so yeah, that's why I posted it. But yeah, that's sort of silly, but it has meaning, yeah. And I quite like it also because it's the first one. It's sort of the beginning of something. So this is the second one, and I'm quite proud of this picture, because I feel like in my mind that for some apparent reason I had to balance all the colors in the picture. I had never done it before, but for some reason, I thought that was to be the essence of Bookstagram, so balancing colors. So yeah, I mean, the first thing that came to my mind when I wanted to do that is, oh well, this is a book with which I could do that easily, and then this could be the start of me doing that with all other pictures, which of course it wasn't, but then in my mind it was the start of something. But I'm quite proud of what came up to be at the end of everything. Okay, that's the third one. And this is just, I think, right before I decided to have a theme in my feed, basically because this picture brought up a theme I could use, an artistic thing of, or an artistic way of representing what the book is about. So this is the Dictator's Handbook. I don't remember the authors, and they are written in such a tiny font that I can't really read them. But yeah.
I will link it down below.
Yes. It's quite a good book. It's a book about politics, but it's sort of shaped like a handbook that's written for people who want to be dictators. And so I felt like I had to capture the structure of the book, and I had to make this sort of a coup on the chessboard. And this is actually one of my favorite books ever, and I read it last year, I think. And I was really, really excited to do this picture because I thought about it whilst reading the book. I was like, oh, I have the perfect way of capturing the essence of the book again. And so I felt like I could capture two things in the picture. One being represented by the book, which is supposed to tell you about modern science, and the other being represented by the chalk drawings, being the whole solar system with the Earth at the center. But it actually is one of the ones with which the process took quite a long time, because I had to like properly color the planets, as you can see, on paper, then make the balls of paper, and then steal some chalk from university and draw some orbits on my desk. And this is the last one, and I chose this one because it sort of represents the other extreme of my feed, as in this is a picture that many people liked, but this is literally a picture that doesn't actually represent me as a reader, because this is just something that I sort of tried to do into capturing what I feel like people like on Instagram or on Bookstagram. And I feel like I was quite successful, and so I'm proud of it.
Did you use it as a sock Sunday, but without socks?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my...
Exploiting the hashtag.
Yes, without having socks.
So now I'm going to go through Davide's feed and choose my top 3 favourites of his feed. And actually, none of my favourites were his favourites, so interesting. My first one is this one. It's an attractive picture, but also I like the fact, well, we both hate the book. We don't like this book, which we have connected over in a way. But also I like it because he's kind of like encaptured like the feeling of the book and like the sense of this bohemian look. I don't know, with the tank top, the dark background, the book cover.
And if you want to know, this is one of the pictures that took less time for me to prepare, because I took this picture with this background and in this apparel only because I was late for classes.
Well, it turned out well. My second one is this one. Well, because you did this whole like kind of twisted thing with your blanket on quite a few of your pictures, but I like this one the most just because I like the coffee in the middle, and I think, I don't know, knowing you also kind of made me appreciate this picture more, because like coffee is like your life. Coffee and books is kind of like you manifested in a picture.
But I did it for War and Peace as well, but it's a plant there. So yeah, I'm really fond of my twirling the blanket. And I do feel like that's a good picture also because the blanket looks like a wheel, and the book is a book in the series of The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan and then Brandon Sanderson.
And then my last favourite was this one. Again, it was mostly just because it encapsulates you.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, I like it. Because I think I'm, like, my desk and everything is never tidy and meticulous, and I find this kind of very organic and raw. Like I don't know, you can see like the mess, but it makes sense and it fits, and I like the shapes and the colours.
Yeah, it is quite a nice picture. Yeah, I mean, this was the situation of my desk because I was preparing exams back then. Yes, it was August.
See, raw and organic.
Yeah.
Davide is now going to choose his top favourite 3 of mine. Well, you've kind of got 4, haven't you? Because there were 2 which he grouped together.
This is the first one in which you did it, and this would be the second one in which you did it. And I sort of, I don't know, for whichever reason, I do like the whole book in the front and building in the background or a skyline or whatever. And this isn't a book I particularly enjoy. But I feel like this is an aesthetically pleasing picture. And yeah, I do like the colours and whatever.
Yeah, this one's actually a really popular one on my feed.
Yeah.
And this was taken almost 2 years ago. This was long before I had Instagram. It was for Tumblr, in fact.
Ooh.
So yeah, it wasn't planned for Instagram.
The other one is this one. Some of your pictures are colorly perfectly matched. And I feel like, I don't know, I mean, it's David Mitchell, so it sort of has a grade that starts above the other ones only because it's David Mitchell. But also I haven't read Slade House.
You should. Good book.
I will. But I feel like this is, again, a really nice picture to look at because you have sort of a balancing between the book and the background. You have the colours are the same.
This one is a lot more contrived. I had to find a decent spot in my mum's house to take this photo. And again, this was another one that I took almost 2 years ago for Tumblr.
And this is my last one, simply because I feel like this is sort of the representation I had in my head of you. It's just a nice picture.
And again, the colours actually seem to work out. The building, my t-shirt and the book,
yeah,
and in the background. That was just because it was for a competition by Foyle's Books, I think. And I just saw it on Instagram, so on my lunch break I went outside, took it, and thankfully I was in Hong Kong at the time, so there was greenery, there was palm trees and everything, and
you could take it here.
It was specifically for like a summer reads competition, so I was like, perfect, this is like sort of the epitome of summer, like in this background and stuff. So yeah, I like it, but it's not one of my favourites. I'm not particularly keen on the way I look in that picture. picture.
I mean, it doesn't really look like you, but you don't look bad.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're interested about your thoughts. If you have experience on both BookTube and Bookstagram, let us know your experiences, tell us your thoughts, tell us how you use Instagram and how you use YouTube. So we'll see you next time for another video. And if you like this one, you can always give it a thumbs up and you can always subscribe if you haven't already. Bye-bye.
Bye.